ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Oil of Joy. I'm the producer. And today's message is to enlighten and inform the Black community of how important it is to have our dads and our fathers in our children's lives and households. Statistics show that the average Black household do not have their fathers involved. And for those reasons, we are here to show you. Enjoy.
Well, hello, Shalom Gospel family, Tour family. We're back again. I have two very special guests with me. And go ahead and introduce yourself. What's your name?
Boaz.
Okay. What's your name?
I'm Ricky Gordon.
Ricky Gordon. Okay. This is Broderick. That's his gospel name. But anyway, today we're going to deal with do something different. But we're dealing with a surface issue. And next time we'll deal with the subliminal. We want to just talk about, our people as a whole in our community, people who are Black and brown. I would just want to start off with some statistics. And the first statistic I want to deal with, and I'm going to ask Ricky what his thoughts are on that. Ricky, do you find that true? And then, what you think the problem is with that?
Well, I got mixed emotions about both those.
Okay.
About both.
Well, just tell me what you think.
So, it's a proven fact that those who drop out of high school are more likely to go to prison.
Right.
Right. This been proven time and time again. We got years of, we've seen, when you say that it's because they were from single father homes, I can't say that that's always the case. A lot of these circumstances happen because of the environment that we in. You take a single family home and put it in a different neighborhood with different surroundings, and you'll have a different outcome.
Environment.
So I can't say that it's because of, the father being absent. Now there's other issues that lack from a father being absent.
Right.
But to say that, you become a high school dropout because the father's not in the home. No, that's usually circumstantial. That's usually your surroundings and what you see, the people, the crowd that you hang around, you tend to do and follow those same patterns.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Before I pass the next question to my brother, I like to say this. I was in YMCA maybe about 5 years ago. I was a volunteer, and I went to the school system, a public school system, and one thing I noticed, you had 90% all white teachers, and you had 90% or above all Black students. And I began to realize what the problem was. Even if you leveled it out to 60% white teachers and 40% Black teachers, things will get better. I always try to bring them bubble gum, candy and stuff, and I talk to them because the teachers couldn't do nothing with them. And they would listen to me, and they would stay in school that day. I had somebody tell me, gave me some advice that you should kept doing that, And before, I enjoy doing it, but that's what I saw. That's my take on it. So.
I found some of it true because it's like a hit or miss, but 74% is a lot. But you gotta think about like what environment they in, like what city they in.
Right.
Like Chicago, way different from Indiana. We got killings, but they got way more killings than us.
Right.
It's people. They got gangs for no reason. Like I know they done seen they father figures and other father figures done die in the streets, but it was all sent like that. It was problematic from the beginning since we came here.
Right.
It all been playing a script, and the script just got bigger and bigger.
So it's safe to say that we have a problem in our community?
Yeah, big problem.
Go ahead.
I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. To say, but we blaming it on being the absence of the father,
Right.
right? And like I said, in some situations that happen, but you take these same situations, right, and you put the father in the house, and if the father is in the house and he's a part of this lifestyle, you see, you got to understand the time we in.
Right.
A lot of these fathers, they live a street life, so they raise their kids in the street life. Their kids see the environment. I mean, they're in the environment. They see exactly what their parents do. They continue to do it too. It's a pattern.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Now you take the father out the home, and that don't make that child more likely to mess up or succeed.
Right.
You know what I mean? Individually, it depends on the support system that child got. If that child got a strong support system, whether the father is there, whether the mother is there, that child, if you got a strong support system, you have more likely a chance to succeed.
I think there was a time that you could do that if you had the determined mother, but I don't believe that is. I believe that if you go back to how it was designed, I think the father should be in that home. Again, I'm referring to our community, because something's wrong. We have 229 murders year to date in Indianapolis, and on October the 18th. So something's wrong. We're breaking our record every year, and I don't know. That's why I got you guys here, and we're gonna move to the next question. I'd like.
Those numbers are we talking about a new time and a new day, right?
Right.
I don't believe that the young ladies are getting pregnant as young as they did when we were younger. Like when you talk about my age class, I went to high school and literally almost everybody was pregnant. So, everybody had a baby.
Okay.
Now, can you blame that on the father not being present? You have a lot of homes where the father was present and the daughter still got pregnant. See, I think we try to take societal issues and try to make it because the father isn't in the home. First off, in order to have a strong and solid unit, you need the father. You need a strong family structure.
Do you think children get away with more things with the father not present, or with the father present? Because when I grew up,
I can't say that. I'm gonna tell you why. Because my kids got away. My kids got away with a lot more than their mother would let them get away with.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I was more. Don't get me wrong, I was disciplinary, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to kids, you discipline them when they're young and they got that fear and that respect for dad that they don't cross. So dad can be fun.
So what if you remove that? What if you remove that fear factor?
See, here's the thing. Now I can use me for instance, right?
Okay.
My father, I love my father to death. We have a great relationship. But my father spent most of my life in prison. All right? So I didn't have a father growing up. And you could say...
Did you need the father? Did you need him?
No.
You didn't need him? Okay.
I did, but I didn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because ultimately, without him, I became who I am today.
Right.
Even though most of my uncles was like my brother, I had my Uncle William, I had my Uncle Melvin, who really showed strong family structured values. You see what I'm saying? So
I believe God will allow the father to be removed from the home. I don't believe every child should have their father in the home, because sometimes the father does more harm than good, But I'm just saying the general design, if you go back into the 40s, 50s, and early 60s, you had over 85% of your black fathers in the home, and crime was relatively low. divorce was almost unheard of, and there were church going people, so, but the times have changed. But, Keisha, I like for you to address, the pregnancy issue, and the, abortions.
Well, I'll start off by saying back in the days, like when my grandmothers and great grandmothers, they had babies early, but they were also married at the age of 15 or 14.
Yeah.
So, they were doing the same acts, but they were married doing it. So I guess that makes a difference. Nowadays, it's a little different because there's so many different factors. I believe that women are greatly affected by the fathers and the mothers, depending on, I don't think it's necessarily whether they're in the house. I think it's really about the type of bond and connection they have. My father was in my household full time when I was younger. When I got to be like a teenager, he was not. I still have the values he instilled in me, and I still carry certain fears. Like I knew if I was gonna do certain stuff that I couldn't get caught doing it, or I knew what my consequences was gonna be.
By your dad,
even though he was not in the house and he wasn't around.
Quick question: Is there a difference between how mom's consequences and dad consequences? Who would you rather deal with, your mom or dad?
I'm gonna be honest. Growing up in my household, my dad could yell at me or holler at me, and I could cry. But when he came to hitting us, I don't know if it wasn't for him.
What is
So
that,
I was
girl?
more
Can't hit the
fearful.
girls.
I was more
The
fearful of
baby.
getting hit by my mama. I knew my mama was gonna beat my butt. So it was like, okay, Daddy could yell at me and make me cry though. He could be like, he could scuffle, like, why are you yelling? I'm crying because he yelling, like, stop hollering at me. It's like one of those Daddy's little girls, but at the same time, when mama step in, it's completely different. Like, you about to get your butt beat because like he's not gonna be able to do it, so he's gonna have her do it. That was a lot younger.
Before you go to the next question, I want to ask you: out of 10 abortions, how many does the black community represent out of 10 abortions?
I have no idea what the statistics are, but it's probably
like
a lot. It's probably like 7.
7.
Okay, for example, if you have someone who grew up in the house where they were maybe molested by their father figure, that changes the whole dynamic. And then if you have someone who may not have been molested by their father figure, they may have other issues like, okay, if their dad did leave, their mother's bitter. She could be. I'm not saying that's what we are. I'm just saying sometimes if you grow up with your mom hating men, you sometimes hate men or get yourself in situations that you don't feel like, you should keep the baby. All right, I'm going to abort it. That's how some of them think, especially nowadays, from what I've noticed. And that's just me knowing different young women in different age groups.
Right.
So
Me
do a
personally,
woman
I'm
have
34 years
the
old.
right? Do a woman have the right to choose?
I feel as though a woman does have the right to choose. I feel like some of the laws are kind of taking that right away, but that's a whole nother topic. We ain't gonna go there this week. I do feel like they have to choose. They have to carry it's their bodies. I feel like they do have the right to choose. I don't necessarily agree with abortion though. Just because I feel as though women should have the choice does not mean that I personally agree with abortion. Because no, I do not.
I will say this before we move on. This is a very sensitive subject, but it's something that we need to talk about. And keep in mind, this is just our first segment, and we're dealing with surface issues to stop all this stuff.
Sometimes it's not about the lack of the father; it's more about the quality of the father.
I agree.
You see what I'm saying? If you don't have the right dad, with the right role model, then then you go.
What was JJ father name?
You gonna produce the
What was
seeds
JJ's
that
father name? Good times.
Huh? James.
Yeah, you did. But we got to move on now. We got to throw some love over here. Okay.
That's true.
Okay. Why?
Because it's the society we bring in, because we glorify that. As young black males, to tell the truth, we want to smoke weed, we want to sell drugs, we want to get that fast money, we want to have that new fast car, we want to get everything easy. We don't want to work for nothing.
And I want y'all to realize that. How old are you?
I'm gonna be 26 next month.
So this is coming from a 26-year-old who is caught, I believe, in one of the worst generations that could ever be, ever live. Just by the murder rate, we know that. And Rick, you mind me asking your age?
45.
45. So Rick's from a different generation. He grew up in, like the
90s, and that's my
the
era,
90s, yeah.
90s.
the Michael
2000.
Jackson, Prince era, And I don't think I'm pretty sure we didn't have as much murder, and all these statistics weren't that skyrocketed, So understand that they're gonna have different opinions, And now we want to hear a song, and we want to ask you a couple questions about the song. What's the first song we're gonna listen to? All right, that's enough. All right. Apparently, that's from your generation.
Everyday people.
What was that music back in your generation? What effect did it have on the young people?
Well, like I said, when you get to Arrested Development, you're talking about one of the very few positive 90s artists.
Right.
When you get to, and I want to say mid 90s, because early 90s we had a plenty of positive,
right.
As far as Public Enemy and Poor Righteous Teachers, and pretty much all the 5%ers coming out of New York. They was, they pretty much ran the music. The Jungle Brothers and De La Soul. You had plenty of positive music in the early 90s. But then when you get to the mid 90s, around the time when I became, high schooler, around that time, it was it was gangster rap,
Yeah.
So.
Do you think music affects our youth?
Of course.
Okay.
I used to argue that when I was younger, right? And then I started producing music, I started making music, and I started seeing the effect that really it does. And you cannot deny, how just learning about vibrations and wavelengths and frequencies, right? And how they affect the body, right? This is what goes into music. That's why a lot of times you'll hear something that sounds so foul to the ear, but people vibe to that and love that. And you be like, how is it that they, you know what I mean? Because it's hitting a certain frequency that generates with them.
Our youth, not all of them, but some of them, it's something about listening to negativity, and this is how they bait our young people in. How many of our young men have died to a soundtrack in the car on the way to do something they know they wasn't supposed to be doing, smoking something they know wasn't supposed to be doing. So we can't blame our young men, okay? And we have 12-year-olds been shot, we have 13-year-olds been shot, and at 12, what do you know? So I'm saying, there's something in me about a father, And don't get me wrong, you can be the best father in the world and still things, you can have the negative pulled on your children, okay? Adam and Eve had the best father in the world. All they told them was, this particular tree, I don't want you to eat nothing of it. And what did they do? They still did it. So you can tell your children all this and that all day long, but they have to go out and make the choices. I'll say, go ahead and play that for me. The Funky Ghetto.
Blow the Whistle, that's probably the most popular.
Ghetto. All right, that's plenty. So here's the thing. What is it about that song that makes your head, is the vibration or is it the beat?
We already know Too Short at that stage right there had already tapped into how to move people. Like, Too Short never had lyrics, he never was the best rapper, but every single person bumped Too Short. People loved Too Short. Why? Because he had amp banks and they understood beats and how to compose music and how to hit certain wavelengths. They knew what people, the vibe that people was on, and they catered them beats to that, and Too Short always had the best beats. And if you look at it, people like Little John came out of Too Short's camp. Those were Too Short's artists when he went to Atlanta, you know, before. So you think about people who started running music, right? It came out of Too Short and that Ant Banks sound, that. You know what I mean?
So, you know, music is a big deal, y'all. You know, I think we as parents, we have a responsibility, you know, if they're living in our house, you know, to monitor what type of music they're listening to. All right, play the next song. This is his song. We're going to give him time to comment on it.
Nah, if you want to listen to a real song, I'll be listening to. I listen to that song, but play NBA Youngboy Forgiatos.
That's a long title.
Gotta keep it real.
I like where y'all going because it's 3 different.
Eras. See, I tried to keep
like
it in that.
I like that.
I didn't know I had on the cussing.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you.
We can't air that because we have no cussing zone. But I feel the beat, you know. So let me ask you this: do we have to cuss to get our point across, or is it how people just relate?
I feel like it's a yes or no answer.
Okay.
Because shoot, I could say something nice with a cuss word, and you probably wouldn't. I probably could say something nice without a cuss word. You probably wouldn't even. You would brush me off.
Right.
But if I say something loud and I cuss you out, you gonna be like, "Hey, what's his problem? He got me messed up."
And we're gonna deal with language. Languages next time. But why do you choose that song?
I choose that song and I chose that person because that person right now, he's really one of the leaders of like new hip hop, and like he got a lot of people killing, doing drugs and everything to his music. So I just putting him out there, even though he one of my favorite artists. And like people still gotta be held accountable for what they do.
Yeah, you're right. Another thing is, you know, you look at our crime, and you know, you think about the policing. I say a few months back when Trump was in office, they were talking about defunding the police. Okay, first of all, I think you should never defund the police because if something happened, who you gonna call? You know,
The army, that's who they gonna call anyway.
Amen. But you know, we see recently we've seen just in the camera the last 3 or 4 years, we see young black men and old black men and young black women and old black women getting beat or shot or choked out. We don't know why that is, but you know, if you find yourself in a situation like that, you know, I specifically, I'm speaking to young men of color. We have to learn how to conduct ourselves when we're being pulled over by law enforcement officers. You know, we've all had bad situations where we had found a cop, you know, who had a bad day. But Rick's gonna read to us how we can, you know.
Being smart with the police. Do focus on what the officer is speaking about. If you speak on your phone while the officer is speaking to you, don't expect things to go well. Do face officers when they speak to you, and look at the officer in the eye. Don't begin by questioning or mocking the officer's authority. See,
Keep going.
Do know your full address, street number, and zip code. Don't touch police officers. Yeah, that's a given. So you don't want to be touching them. That's it. If you have a bad experience with one officer, don't assume all officers are bad. If you don't like the way officers treat you, deal with it later by speaking to an adult who can help you file a complaint. Don't get in the officer's face. So this is mainly dealing with kids, is
Right.
what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, dealing with your kids, okay. Because Yeah, I believe that's good.
Our young men need to know how, because they can just be innocent,
Yeah.
but they can fit the description of somebody. You know, the guy had on a black hoodie, a cap, and some tennis shoes. That's every.
But see, I also
already
believe
happened
that
before.
even
Change
as a
my
kid, right? It's your parents' responsibility to really teach your kids law, really teach your kids about their situations, about police officers and what their rights are in that situation. And regardless of the fact, I don't care if he's a police officer, a public official, they have no right to
Detain you unlawfully.
no right to violate your rights whatsoever.
Yeah.
So in the aspect, yeah, these are very good rules to follow, right? Be complacent because I know our youth sometimes they can get a little unruly. You know, I was young and I was very combative. You know what I mean? And it's due to our situations, but all these things, you know, as a whole, I don't agree with, you know, because this then says that person of authority has the right to violate you in certain ways, and all you have to do and all you can do about it is address it later. And that's yeah, for kids to get
You
out
want
of
to
this
get. You want to live.
situation,
You want to live to
but
tell.
for as a whole, we
Right.
know this these aren't good.
But you want to live to tell, and there's nothing wrong with being respectful of police officers because they could be mistaken, and then
Y'all been on both sides of the spectrum, and it ain't no such thing as this mistaken identity. They know exactly who you are, where you are, who they looking for when they looking for you. They got the picture of the person that they looking for. It's no mistaken identity.
Right.
They they messing with you. And that's just
It says, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great dreadful day of Yahweh. And he shall turn the hearts to the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to the fathers, lest I come to smite the earth with a curse."
Tell me why you think the hearts of the children need to turn back to the fathers, because obviously they're not, and the hearts of the fathers need to be turned back to the children. Tell me why that's important.
Because family is important, especially in a black home.
Yeah.
So if you got both parents in the home, well, I'm fortunate to have both parents in the home. I got my mother, she's strong as a rock. Israelite, she instilled it to us once we found out who he was, and my father was right there behind her. And so if you know where the foundation is of who you really are as a people, his name is Yeshua Mashiach, not Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ in Greek mythology means holy pig. Why would I ever call my God a holy pig? Why would I ever? It's just something like when you got your father in the crib and you got your mother and the family is strong, nothing can beat you, especially when you know God. That's what the devil don't want you to have. That's why he comes divide and destroy. So us trying to get the families back inside the communities is only making him more upset. So with it being said, they know it's time. Well, the higher ups know it's time that their day is coming to an end. They had 2 days. Their day is coming to an end. And God's people about to come back for the final day to rule the earth. So that's why they coming with this vaccine. They don't want to see the dream of the black man finally ruling the earth. They'd rather die to see it happen. They'd rather go to war with God. They'd rather lie. They've been lying to us before we even knew it was a lie.
Well, true or false, does strong fathers make strong families?
No lie.
So absent fathers who are not there, what type of families do we have?
Yeah,
Weak families. That's just a given.
Families.
And not let's not take anything away from our mothers in there. The women there. I was a coach. The mothers are there 95% of the time. If you get a couple of fathers there, it's a miracle. Our fathers have to step up to the plate. Okay, that's just as given. If you're able to. Now, if you're locked up, or dead, you have an excuse.
Yeah.
But we as black fathers, we have to do a little bit better. No, we got to do better than what we're doing. That's just given.
And I got another thing to say with that because, all right, so we had a spiritual warfare with ourselves in a society and nobody knows. A lot of killings, a lot of this, because channels, now you
But
can,
is that spiritual or is that a planned program?
It's both. It's both.
Okay, I got
Honestly.
So look, with that being said, how does that affect the family? Is it positive effect or negative effect?
It's a negative. It's a negative effect because honestly, if you got three entities talking to yourself, your soul, you got God and you got the devil. And when you messed up on drugs, alcohol, or anything, the devil's control of an idle mind. So you don't know what you thinking of, and you thinking all these wild thoughts. Oh, you want to go kill somebody, or you want to go do a gay act. You're gonna go on that because the devil's taking control of your head because this idle mind.
I will say this: my dad monitored what we watched.
Yeah.
What y'all watching? We didn't have the channel thing. We had
They got too much access.
That was our remote.
You can on the internet, you can watch it on TV, get on the phone.
No, the last channel button. Go back to the last channel. We had whatever. We don't watch,
None of that.
Too much access.
But
We had a pager. Best.
But I'll say, Dad has to be there to do that. If you're not there, you can't do that. So I want you to read this about decisions, and we'll close right here.
It says, your friends pull up to your grandmother's car. He asks you to go for a joyride with him. You know he has no license, and you doubt that his grandma's car will let him drive.
Okay, so what's the deal?
He done stole the car.
Right.
Stole.
So this is common decisions. How often are we asking our children scenarios and tell them, hey, make decisions, make good decisions,
Yeah.
What's the next one?
It says, you are tired of being broke, and you are approached by a guy in your neighborhood to do a drill run for some money.
Okay. So how do you handle that situation? Okay. If dad's not there, if you raise yourself, it was more likely, and this is how our children fall predator to certain things outside. You have more people feel like you ask them. I've talked to guys. They feel like the gang family is closer than the mother and father. My parents, my mother understand me. She'll be hanging out with the gang members, because they feel like they're family. They love on them, give them five, high five, geek them up.
Or they just get in their head and manipulate them into doing things that they want them to do.
That's all it is. It's just
catching the case or the bullets for whoever they went and did whoever or whatever they did.
You gotta know
So
exactly
it's about
what it
free
is.
will and being smart enough to sometimes now it is hard because some thugs is aggressive and some of them was more like some of them won't ask you to do nothing. They'll tell you what to do or they'll threaten you in certain situations. So you just have to play it smart. Like, hey, I'm about to go to school. I'm about to go to the library. I don't know, but just come up with something smart
pressure,
so you can still walk away with your life. Because if you do decline them, they may get mad at you too. So
You know what? I
it's
grew
just
up in
about
gang
knowing how to
culture,
handle
and
yourself in different environments and around different types of people.
I grew up in gang culture, and nobody is forced to be in no gang or out doing nothing they ain't supposed to be. It's somebody who seeks to do this, right, or try to align yourself.
They would have to want to do it, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? This is where it
I done
comes.
seen people get
It
pressured
boils
into
right back
gang.
down to what she
It's free
said.
pressure.
Free
I done
will.
seen people get pressured. I done seen people get beat
Sometimes
down.
you
You
get
seen
pressure.
people
That's
get
why
what?
in some cases
Pressure
that's why
to
I
be
said
in gangs.
But here's the thing. Again, there's a generational gap. Okay. So
it is. That's why I said I agree with both because I know
Yeah.
both sides of it.
If
Nowadays
you-
they're not gonna ask you.
If you
Nowadays,
look
they
at
gonna-
the time most people getting shot at,
gonna make
2 at a
you
time in a car, these 7 to 8-year-olds at 2 o'clock in the morning, why are you at home?
What I'm saying is, if somebody's going to you trying to make you be a part of something that you're not, it's because you are in that situation. You put yourself in that situation.
The thing about gangs is there has to be a leader. And I made up a long time ago, I don't know what he may ask me to do. So a leader being in a gang may not work out for me. But go ahead and read the next one. These are just about decisions that our young kids have to make on a daily basis, okay? And they make them every day, and every day they're getting popped.
Yeah.
They said
It's
your
really
friend
no
hooks
different.
you up with a girl who gets drunk and high a lot. He says she's open to doing anything and everything when she is loaded.
Okay. What do you do?
He going for it.
On my mom, and he's like, well, that's a plan Z right
We had a
there.
code where, me and my friends, we didn't date each other's brothers sisters. You know what I'm saying? I didn't go over there looking at none of the sisters. He come to my house looking at my sister. It was a mutual respect thing, So as far as that, you have to have, boundaries and stuff, And this is what it is. It's a boundary. This is a good decision. You wouldn't want nobody to do that to your sister or your auntie or your girlfriend, So, the thing is, you have to teach your children, you don't take advantage of a person when they're,
when they under the
right,
Yeah.
That's a decision, okay?
Yeah,
What's
never
next?
take advantage of young ladies, guys. But if it, no, I'm
Oh my God!
It says your mother live and her
say nah.
boyfriend argue and sometimes get physical with your mother. When she is at home, he starts arguments and get in your face.
So he's left the house. When she's left, he comes and attacks you. So how do you handle a situation like that?
Yeah, you gotta
Gotta
pray
leave.
on him and leave that
You gotta leave the
situation.
situation any means necessary.
Call your real daddy.
I know they seen
you
No, I'm just playing.
your brother.
That ain't always feasible for people.
Man,
That's
they
just
better
me being
calm
me.
on.
But,
So here's the thing. You want to de-escalate that because first that's your mother's man,
Yeah.
okay? And when you're in a relationship, that's their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a conversation with your mother and say, hey, this guy's making me uncomfortable. He's in my face when he's one way. When you around, when you gone, he's the other way.
I'm only 34, but at the same time, a lot of stuff was kept in the house still. That was like one of the rules, keep it in the house. So if people
that's
don't feel
just
safe
now.
enough to tell
Still.
you know what I mean? So if people don't feel safe enough to tell nobody, they may not say nothing. But that's what it's about. It's about being okay enough to communicate that and not being afraid of, what somebody's gonna think. Just be honest about it. If somebody's threatening you, especially when your mother, your parent ain't around, then they need to know. And
They're
a lot of
gonna try
times,
to.
That's right.
parents don't know because nobody was able. They didn't tell them because they were scared to tell.
a parent should always listen to their child when they tell them if your mate, somebody that you're bringing into the relationship, is not getting along with your kids. First, you got to know your kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? But two, you need to really look at what's going on and not brush it under the table because it could be something serious.
You should establish rules, ways. If I bring my home, you can't diss my child. You can't, you bring me.
Let me
And a lot of stuff is avoidable, But read your last question.
Depending on the people.
It says your friend younger sister has a crush on you. One day when you drop by, she tells you your friend is not at home and she invites you in and begins to press you.
Okay. So how do you handle a situation like that?
Like, sure to get your young butt on.
Yeah. Right. Because there's
I
these
am grown.
decisions. Isn't this how we get an abortion?
Huh?
This is how we get an abortion.
That's
He-
why-
he-
That could be.
Right.
That could be.
Secrets.
Yeah,
Keep it
keeping the
secret, that's
secrets.
true.
Yep.
So
That
you
could
know,
be.
so the golden rule is doing to others as you have doing to you. Okay. I have little sisters. I have a daughter. I would say, what would I want my daughter? I have a granddaughter. So if it's bad for your child and your granddaughter and your daughter, then it's bad for somebody else's. You have to establish boundaries in life. Y'all come on, y'all.
Have empathy.
Y'all heard the family stories. Come on, everybody, y'all not
know all
ignorant.
about 'em.
Y'all know the family secrets, you know what I'm saying? And this has got to stop. Okay, this has got to stop. And you can't stop it by hiding. And this is why people are so traumatized and they're drinking and doing drugs and popping pills
trying to
and going to
find that.
psychiatrists because they don't know how to deal with this,
Yep.
And we all have had this in our family, But I will say this, in closing, attention, all dads and fathers. If you're not dead or in prison, we need you to try to do better by your children. Okay? If you're locked up, write them a letter and say this is why. I know somebody wrote their son's letter. Me and your mom, we didn't get along. We broke up. But I got locked up. I want to be a part of your lives. Can we establish a relationship when we get out of prison? I got like 2-3 years left. I want to be in your life. I made a mistake. Because those children, they're out to fend for themselves. What happens when it's parents and you ever went to daughter? I had a daughter dance. Just think if I was locked up. They says, "Where's your father at, Charity? How come he didn't come to dance? My dad's in prison." So this affects us. So we have to learn how can I put it? We as a black man, we have to learn how to make our decisions and do what's best for everybody. Because here's the thing, we can't take anything back. There are no do-overs. Sometimes if you're lucky, you can do second chances. But we gotta get this right, and we have to be examples. Because here's the thing, you don't know who's watching you. You don't know which one of your nephews is looking up to you. He said, I want to be like Uncle Rick. You know which one of your nieces is going to look up to you? I want to be like Aunt Deborah. You know, you got cousins and stuff. I wish I was more like him, you know. He's a hard worker. Well, you know, that concludes this session. Again, we dealt this week with the surface. Next time we'll deal with the subliminal issues. And, you know, thank you for your time. And now we'll hear a selection from Sister Deborah / Keisha.
So this concludes our session about Black families and the statistics on fatherhood and how important it is for fathers to be actively present in your children's lives. As women, it's very important for our fathers to be present in our lives. Even if they aren't in our household, it's still mandatory and necessary to be in your children's lives as much as you can and teach them, love them, embrace them, and show them the way. Thank you for watching.